Canadá está absolutamente furiosa por lo que pasó entre Donald Trump y el primer ministro Mark Carney en la reunión que tuvieron dentro de la Casa Blanca. Pues Donald Trump nuevamente continúa atacando la soberanía canadiense, alegando que Canadá debería de ser el estado número 51 de Estados Unidos. Habló sobre cómo fusionar a Canadá con Estados Unidos y básicamente burlarse y quitarle su soberanía. En respuesta a una pregunta sobre por qué los turistas canadienses ya no están yendo a Estados Unidos, Donald Trump respondió: a mí ni me importa. Con tal, a los estadounidenses ni siquiera les gustan los automóviles canadienses. ¿De qué estás hablando, Donald Trump, cuando la industria automotriz canadiense es muy importante e indispensable para la industria automotriz estadounidense? Este es un sector muy próspero de Canadá, del cual Estados Unidos obtiene muchas, pero muchas piezas para sus vehículos. Luego, Donald Trump intenta atribuirse el mérito de salvar, según él, más de 100.000 vidas canadienses al atacar de manera ilegal a barcos en la costa venezolana, alegando que eran narcobarcos. Luego de esto, para posteriormente publicar un video a Twitter donde se ve cómo comete esta acción, repito, ilegal e inconstitucional. Y luego de esto, Donald Trump continúa atacando a los canadienses una y otra vez, y créeme que los canadienses ya están hartos. Yo creo que esto simplemente lo empujó más allá de la línea que él ya había trazado. Mira algunos de los titulares que surgieron después de esta reunión que yo la considero completamente desastrosa. Mira el titular de New York Times. Ellos dicen: Donald Trump predice que Canadá volverá a amarnos después de la reunión con Carney, o sea, con el primer ministro Mark Carney. ¿Qué lenguaje tan desequilibrado y sociópata es ese? ¿Cómo que volver a amarnos? Canadá desprecia todo el régimen de Donald Trump. Desprecia a Donald Trump, desprecia su administración, desprecia todo el odio que ha propagado por todo Estados Unidos. ¿Qué tal este otro titular? Donald Trump se muestra optimista sobre futuros comercios con Canadá, pero aún así no ofrece concesiones. Yo considero que esto es Donald Trump siendo un estafador, porque básicamente Donald Trump lo que está pidiendo para que se den todos los tratos, todas las concesiones, es que Canadá sencilla y únicamente renuncie a toda su soberanía. Lo que está haciendo Donald Trump es eso: atacar su soberanía y atacar a la gente de Canadá. Quiero que veas el discurso donde el Premier Ford dice: tenemos que responderle de forma dura a Donald Trump porque ya basta, no podemos seguir dejándonos intimidar por este tipo. Dice: tenemos que levantarnos, ya no podemos seguir bajo el régimen de Donald Trump. Y también continúa diciendo: amamos a los estadounidenses, pero si nos van a atacar, los vamos a hacer sentir dolor. Escucha al Premier Ford hace unos días, por favor.
My solution is every time they hit us, we hit them back. Or we just keep getting rolled over and rolled over. They have to feel the pain. The Americans have to feel the pain. And then you'll get a reaction from President Trump. But again, if you just let a bully just run over you constantly and you don't hit back, we'll be sitting here with no jobs. The Americans will have the jobs. And maybe the prime minister will sit back and think, what the heck did I do? I'm just telling you what I would do. I would hit back against President Trump when he's going after the sectors like the cabinet manufacturers, furniture manufacturers, our great lumber industry that we ship 30% down to the U.S. And guess what? The Americans are going to pay the price. The costs are going up. Very early that he did it, and it did hurt the American economy, and we can't sit back. We have two choices, folks. You sit back and let Trump run the country, roll us over, and we bow down to the guy. That's not what Doug Ford believes. We sit there and fight like we've never fought before. We make sure that we have the most competitive environment in the entire world to attract more companies that we're doing here in Ontario. That's what the federal government needs to focus on.
Y así comienza su discurso, con palabras muy contundentes, muy duras, pero muy necesarias. Mira, por favor.
Well, hello everyone, and today I guess is a big day for Canada and the U.S., and I look forward to speaking to the Prime Minister, and all the premiers do, after the meeting with President Trump. But there has to be a point that if Prime Minister Carney can't get a deal, we have to start hitting back. We need to hit back hard. We can't continuously decline tariffs, and President Trump increases tariffs, no matter if it's 10% on our lumber industry, softwood lumber, or if it's 25% on furniture or cabinets. I visit a lot of furniture companies and cabinet manufacturers, and I know one thing: we buy a tremendous amount of furniture off the U.S. and as well as cabinets, but we also ship cabinets down to the U.S. But we can't just keep rolling over to President Trump. As he strengthens his case, we seem to be weakening our case by continuously pulling off tariffs. I'd take a different approach. Try to get a deal. If you can't, we got to hit him back hard and never stop hitting him back hard, because we can never take a backseat to anyone, especially President Trump. We have a great country, resilient country, a powerful economically, we're powerful. The U.S. exports more products to Canada than anywhere in the entire world. And it sounds great with the Americans until they start seeing inflation. We've seen inflation down in the U.S. I just came back from a meeting in Quebec with 2 governors. They're seeing inflation. We're seeing it in sectors. The auto sector, they're going to see an increase of over $107 billion. Other companies are seeing it. John Deere, they're laying over 280 people off because of tariffs. We're seeing it across every single sector. So it's time to sit down, let's get a deal, or let's start hitting back.
Solo para recordarte un poco de lo que ocurrió en esa reunión desafortunada en la oficina oval. Voy a mostrarte algunos clips de esto y también te voy a mostrar algunos clips del gobernador del estado de Pensilvania, el gobernador Shapiro, porque él también tuvo palabras contundentes defendiendo Canadá y creo que son palabras que necesitas ver. Así que esto fue en la oficina oval, cuando un reportero le pregunta a Donald Trump sobre los canadienses que ya no quieren visitar a Estados Unidos. Y luego Donald Trump respondió atacando la industria automotriz canadiense. Mira el clip, por favor.
Canadians are refusing to go to the U.S. The numbers are down like 23% in the first 7 months of the year. What do you say to Canadians that don't want to go to the U.S. now because of your 51st state talk, because of the trade war, the tariffs?
Yeah, well, I understand it. Look, I understand that, and Americans don't want to buy cars that are made in Canada. I mean, we have the same conflict. So there isn't. It's something that will get worked out. There's still great love between the two countries, but American people want product here. They want to make it here. Detroit was emptied out and moved to Canada, moved to Mexico, moved to other places, not just Canada. And now they're all moving back, they're moving back. We have, right now, I was just telling Mark, we have 17 trillion, but it's really much higher. That was as of a couple of months ago. Yeah. We have over $17 trillion being invested now in the United States.
Luego en el siguiente clip podemos ver cómo Donald Trump se atribuye de forma fraudulenta el haber salvado, según él, 100.000 vidas canadienses y más. Todo esto al haber atacado barcos que, según él, repito, eran narcobarcos en la costa de Venezuela. Aunque ya han habido declaraciones de los familiares de los desaparecidos, o sea, que fueron atacados por Donald Trump en estos barcos, que dicen que eran únicamente pescadores. Esto viola gravemente el derecho internacional. Mira el clip, por favor.
And as you know, we've taken a very hard stand on drugs. This is also benefiting you. We've a lot of we call them the water drugs, the drugs that come in through water. They're not coming. There are no boats anymore. Frankly, there are no fishing boats. There's no boats out there, period. If you want to know the truth, we're saying, does anybody go fishing anymore? The fact is, we knocked out, probably saved at least 100,000 lives, American lives, Canadian lives, by taking out all those boats coming in. So it's, and now they don't come in that way anymore. Now they'll come in other ways, and we're not going to allow that either. So we've done a great job on that.
Volviendo al Premier Ford y al discurso que dio en Ontario, él insiste, tenemos que enfrentarnos a él si es que no se puede llegar a un acuerdo. Miren el clip, por favor.
If the Americans want to see inflation stop, you make a deal with Canada. You want to see the economy grow, make a deal with Canada. That's what we need to do, because it will hurt both countries if we don't. But you sure don't sit back and get beat up by a bully every single day. It's like a kid going to the schoolyard and getting punched in the face every day. It's time to hit back if he can't get a deal. Maybe Prime Minister Carney knows something I don't know. And if that's the case, he should sit down with the premiers and explain that. That's what he needs to do.
El Premier Ford también tiene un plan. Él dice que hay que cortarle el suministro de energía a Estados Unidos. Él dice, ¿por qué le damos energía tan barata a Estados Unidos? Redirijamos esa energía a Canadá. Él continúa diciendo que prefiere darles energía a su pueblo y hacer sufrir al pueblo estadounidense. La verdad, la forma en la que este hombre quiere resolver las cosas es la forma en la que se resuelven las cosas contra un abusivo. Yo estoy de acuerdo, aunque la verdad, yo estoy a favor de Estados Unidos siempre. Considero que la forma en la que está queriendo defender a su pueblo es la idónea. Miren este clip, por favor.
Well, what we need to do is use that energy to be more competitive. If he wants to shut down every single industry, President Trump, we're going to need the energy. We're giving the U.S. energy at an extremely low cost. We're keeping 1.5 million lights on and businesses open in New York and Michigan and Minnesota, and I know other provinces are doing the same thing. Let's start giving it to our manufacturers. They work a night shift, off hours, off peak hours. Maybe they want to shift some manufacturing and get their electricity at a much lower cost. I'd rather support our Ontario manufacturers than support our neighbors south of the border that are competing against us. And President Trump constantly attacking our economy, attacking our people. My message is very clear to Howard Lutnick. You know, this is not going to work. I got an idea, Howard. Look up Ronald Reagan. Take a look at what he said about tariffs. What it does, it increases inflation, which is happening in the U.S. and Canada. And at the end of the day, people start losing their jobs. So why don't we partner together and come up with a solution and stop attacking Canadians?
What is not helpful is the bullying. What is not helpful is failing to remember our shared history and the way we are intertwined. What is not helpful is the way in which the president has demeaned our neighbors in the North, suggesting that they should be the 51st state. I respect Canadian sovereignty, and I hope that tomorrow when this meeting occurs in the White House, respect will rule the day, that we will hammer out a trade agreement that works for both sides, and that Pennsylvanians can continue to work with our partners in the North to grow our economy, to protect our farmers, to expand our manufacturing base. The final thing I'll say is this: slapping a tariff on Canada, even for Pennsylvania companies that are based in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, that source their raw materials in Pennsylvania, that don't rely on raw materials from Canada. The prices for those companies are going up. The capital needed to be able to expand is staying in the private sector's pocket, meaning they are not investing the kind of capital that is needed to grow and expand right now. And so by the president pushing the tariff button, he's not only alienating one of our most important global allies, he's driving up the cost for Pennsylvania farmers, driving up the cost for Pennsylvania small businesses, driving up the cost for Pennsylvania manufacturers, even those who are doing it in the president's mind the right way, note the air quotes here, by doing it based in America, sourced with American products, sourced with American raw material, with American workers. We're still seeing prices go way up because the president decided to push the tariff button and drive up costs on the American people. It is dangerous, the rhetoric he's engaged in, and his practices are making things cost more. And it is not in America's long-term interest, I believe, to have this fight with Canada. It will make things cost more and will undermine our unique relationship.
In the Farm Belt in southern Ontario, Port Elgin, Owen Sound area, you know, driving past, bumper crops, record season. I was just in Saskatchewan, our breadbasket, watching the farmers taking the hay off the fields. What I'm hearing in Saskatchewan, okay, we've got issues with the Chinese, but this is a great year. And the reason farming is doing so well is that Donald Trump has blown up what could have been a bumper crop year in the United States by what? Number one, going after the migrant workers. So in California, Arizona, New Mexico, chasing the workers out of the fields. Then the tariff wars is causing havoc in places, you know, like the Dakotas, Montana, because they rely on all their parts suppliers, the potash coming over from Canada. So those input costs are creating chaos. But the big issue is when you threaten people and you threaten their countries, they don't buy your product. I mean, we don't buy Iowa corn anymore. We don't buy American produce. If you go to any of our grocery stores, it's amazing. It's Mexico, 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 Peru, 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 and then there's one thing from the United States sitting on the shelves. So the American farmers who bought into Trump thinking tariffs were going to help them, their markets are gone. And what's happening, again, Canada's not shooting its mouth off. They're letting Donald do his thing. Canada is moving in on the corn market. Canadian corn is being sold now in Ireland, Spain, and the UK. This was like hardcore guaranteed American markets before. It's not anymore. Tomatoes, Mexico's moving in. Canadian greenhouses are moving in. And the other thing, this is a really important thing to show why they're calling it Farmageddon right now in the United States of the collapse that they're facing in the communities that supported Trump, is that, they went after all the woke regulations and all that environmental stuff. Well, yeah, nobody else is going to buy your pesticide products. And so Canada, again, quietly selling to the Europeans, selling to other markets, saying traceability standards. You can check our products. We're not going to be putting pesticides on them. So Donald Trump and all his cut red tape MAGA guys thought it sounded great. And they've lost their markets. And once your markets go, they don't come back. So this is a really bad year for American farmers. Right now in Canada, they're doing pretty darn good.
Mr. President, what is Canada giving you in return? If you say Mr. Carney's going to be leaving Washington happy, what's Canada giving you in return?
Well, you'll find out. But I think the people of Canada, they will love us again. Most of them still do. If you say only 25%. I assume a lot of them. I think they love us. And again, we want Canada to do great. But, there's a point at which we also want the same business. We're competing for the same business. That's the problem. That's why I keep mentioning one way to solve that problem is a very easy way. But we're competing for the same business. He wants to make cars, we want to make cars, and we're in competition. And the advantage we have is we have this massive market. So it's quite an advantage.
Bueno amigos, llegamos al final del video. Espero que les haya gustado. Si fue así, por favor, háganmelo saber en los comentarios. Además, si este video te gustó, te va a encantar suscribirte al canal, ya que subo videos así todos los días. Mi nombre es José Alvarado, soy economista y estoy comprometido con informarte diariamente. Nos vemos en el siguiente video. Adiós.